You do it again. You're standing in the shower or lying in bed or staring out the window on your commute, and suddenly you're somewhere else entirely. You're having a conversation that never happened, winning an argument from 3 years ago, rehearsing a speech you'll never give, living a life that doesn't exist. And when you snap back to the present, there's this strange feeling, half relief, half disappointment. Because for a moment, the fake scenario felt more real than your actual life. Let's talk about what this really is. You're not daydreaming, not in the casual way people think of it. You're constructing entire realities in your mind, in detailed, emotional, immersive. You imagine confrontations with people who wronged you, success scenarios where everyone finally sees your worth, romantic moments with someone you barely know, disasters you're preparing for that will probably never come. And here's the thing, these scenarios aren't random. They're not just boredom or creativity run wild. They're your brain trying to solve something it can't solve in the real world. So let me say this first. You're not broken. You're not wasting your life in fantasy. You're not avoiding reality because you're weak. Your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do. It's simulating testing, preparing, trying to give you control in a world that often feels uncontrollable. Let's go deeper into the mechanism. There's a network in your brain called the default mode network. It activates when you're not focused on the outside world, when you're just thinking. And for some people, this network is hyperactive. It doesn't just wander, it builds. It creates elaborate simulations of what could be, should be, or might have been. Psychologists call this counterfactual thinking. Your brain is running alternate versions of reality, not to torture you, but to learn from them, to prepare for future moments, to process past ones. Think of it like this. Your brain is a prediction machine. It's constantly asking, what happens next? How do I respond? What could go wrong? When you imagine fake scenarios, you're mentally rehearsing, you're running simulations, the way a pilot practices in a flight simulator, testing responses, building confidence, preparing for the unexpected. But here's where it gets complicated. Sometimes the simulation becomes a substitute. You rehearse the conversation so many times, you never actually have it. You imagine the success so vividly, the real work feels less urgent. You replay the hurt so often, you stay stuck in it. The tool that would prepare you starts to trap you. There's another reason you do this, and it's tied to something deeper, control. In your real life, you can't control how people respond to you. You can't predict outcomes. You can't rewind and redo. But in your mind, you're the director, the writer, the actor. You get to say the perfect thing. You get to be understood. You get to win. And your brain craves that feeling, especially if you've spent a lot of your life feeling powerless, misunderstood, overlooked. The fake scenarios become a place where you finally have agency, where you finally matter. And that's not pathological, that's human, but there's a cost. When you spend too much time in the scenarios, you start to lose touch with what's real. You mistake the emotions you feel in the simulation for the emotions of actual experience. You get angry at people for things they only did in your head. You feel disappointed when real life doesn't match the script you wrote. And slowly, the gap between your inner world and outer world widens. You become more comfortable in the scenarios than in reality because reality is messy, unpredictable, unscripted, and your brain, for all its power, struggles with uncertainty. So how do you work with this instead of against it? Not by stopping, not by shaming yourself for it, but by understanding what the scenarios are really trying to give you. First, externalize the scenario. When you catch yourself in one, write it down, not to analyze it to death, but to get it out of the loop. Your brain imagines scenarios because it's trying to process something. So let it process, give it form, give it words. This is called expressive writing in psychology, and it works because it completes the loop your brain is stuck in. Once it's external, your mind can stop replaying it internally. Second, ask yourself, is this scenario preparing me or protecting me? There's a difference. Preparing means you're mentally rehearsing something you actually plan to do. Protecting means you're hiding in fantasy to avoid discomfort. If you're imagining a difficult conversation and then you have it, that's preparation. If you're imagining it over and over, but never acting, that's avoidance. Your brain will use scenarios both ways. Learn to recognize which one you're in. Third, set a time limit. You don't have to eliminate the scenarios, but you can contain them. Give yourself 10 minutes, then return to the present. This trains your brain that the scenarios are a tool, not a residence. You can visit, but you don't live there. Fourth, Ground yourself in the present when you notice you've drifted, not harshly, gently. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice your breath. Look at something real in front of you. This activates your sensory cortex and pulls you out of the default mode network. It reminds your brain, this is real, this moment, this body, this life. Here's the mental model. Your mind is a river. The scenarios are the current, sometimes gentle, sometimes wild. You can't stop the river, but you can choose not to be swept away by it. You can sit on the bank, watch it move, acknowledge it, and then stand up and walk your own path. The scenarios will always be there. That's not the problem. The problem is when you forget they're not the destination. They're just your mind trying to make sense of a complicated world, trying to protect you, prepare you, give you control when everything feels uncertain. You've spent a lot of time in those scenarios, and maybe some of them were beautiful. Maybe some gave you comfort when reality couldn't, but you don't have to live there anymore. You can let them be what they were always meant to be. Simulations, rehearsals, not replacements. Your real life is waiting. Messy, uncertain, and unscripted, but real. And maybe that's enough. So here's one thing for you. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. See you in the next one.